The boy who started banging drums at 7 years old became one of the Caribbean's biggest music stars, and his story is about loyalty, music, and never giving up. A 7-year-old kid in Trinidad. He picks up some sticks, starts hitting percussion instruments. The rhythm feels natural, like breathing, like his heartbeat. That kid was Darryl Henry. But the world would come to know him by a very different name, Farmer Nappy. And that 7-year-old decision to make music changed everything, not just for him, but for an entire genre of Caribbean music called soca. Darryl Henry was born on May 3, 1971 in Trinidad and Tobago, a small Caribbean island nation where music flows through the streets like water, where carnival is not just a celebration but a way of life, where children grow up hearing calypso and soca from their earliest memories. Trinidad produces musicians the way other countries produce athletes or scientists. It is in the culture, in the blood, in the very air people breathe. Young Darryl grew up in this world, a world where music was everywhere. But he was not dreaming of stardom back then. He was just a kid who loved rhythm. At 7 years old, most children are playing video games or running around outside. Darryl was joining a band, not a school band, a real performance band. The band was called Panasonic Express. It was a young band, kids mostly, but they took their music seriously, really seriously. The lead singer of Panasonic Express was another young kid named Machel Montano. Today, Machel Montano is one of the biggest names in soca music. A legend, an icon. But back then, he was just another kid with a dream, and Darryl Henry was right there beside him, playing percussion, keeping the beat, building the foundation that everyone else danced on. The bond between Darryl and Machel became like brothers. They grew up together, made music together, failed together, succeeded together. That friendship would last decades. Through all the changes, all the success, all the challenges. When you start making music at 7 years old with someone, they become more than a bandmate. They become family. And that is exactly what happened. As Panasonic Express evolved and eventually became the band Xtatik, Darryl evolved too. He was not just a percussion player anymore, he was a songwriter, a creative force, a musical mind that could craft hits. Xtatik became huge, one of the biggest soca bands in the Caribbean. They toured internationally, they packed stadiums. They created anthems that entire islands sang during carnival season, and Darryl Henry, who now went by the stage name Farmer Nappy, was writing some of their biggest hits. Songs like Big Truck, Music Farm, Crowded, No Carnival, Big Fat Fish, Water Flowing, Granny. These were not just songs. They were cultural moments. They were tracks that defined carnival seasons, that people remembered years later, that became part of Trinidad musical DNA. In 1998, Farmer Nappy won the award for Best Songwriter for a track called Footsteps. That song also won Road March of the Year. Road March is a huge deal in Trinidad. It is the song that gets played the most during Carnival. The song everyone is singing. The song that defines that year Carnival season. Winning Road March is like winning a Grammy in Trinidad, maybe even bigger. Because it means the people chose your song, not critics. Not industry executives, the people dancing in the streets. They voted with their feet, with their voices, with their energy, and Farmer Nappy song won. But here is the thing, despite all this success, despite writing hit after hit, despite being part of one of the biggest bands in soca, Farmer Nappy was still in the shadows. When people thought of Xtatik, they thought of Machel Montano, the lead singer, the frontman, the star. Farmer Nappy was incredibly important to the band's success. Everyone in the industry knew that, but the general public, they did not always know his name. He was the guy behind the hits, the songwriter, the percussionist, the background voice, not the main attraction. For 25 years, Farmer Nappy stood beside Machel Montano in Xtatik, 25 years. That is longer than some marriages, longer than most business partnerships. But by 2007, something shifted. Farmer Nappy realized he wanted more. Not out of ego, not out of jealousy, but out of a desire to see what he could do on his own, to step out of the shadow and into his own spotlight, to prove that Farmer Nappy could be a star in his own right. So, he made a difficult decision. He left Xtatik to pursue a solo career. May 2007. Farmer Nappy traveled to Barbados, another Caribbean island known for its carnival called Crop Over. He connected with two producers called the Red Boys. Their real names were Mikey Holzmeyer and Scott Galt. These guys had already produced some big hits. They knew their stuff. Farmer Nappy came with lyrics. They had a studio session booked. And together they created a song called Chippin. That song changed everything. Chippin became an absolute monster hit, the kind of song that takes over an entire region. It won Groovy Song of the Year at the 2008 awards in Trinidad. It was nominated for Song of the Year. It played everywhere: Barbados, Trinidad, Jamaica, New York, Miami, Toronto, London. Anywhere Caribbean people gathered, Chippin was playing. The song was about a man celebrating his relationship with his own woman, his wife, his partner. It was groovy. It was sweet. It had a melody that got stuck in your head for days, and it proved something very important. Farmer Nappy did not need to stand behind anyone, he could stand on his own. But the success of Chippin also created problems. Farmer Nappy and the Red Boys had a disagreement about ownership, about rights, about money. Things got ugly. They ended up in court, fighting over the song. 2 years of legal battles. 2 years of tension. 2 years where this incredible creative partnership was destroyed by business disputes. It happens all the time in music. Artists and producers create magic together. Then lawyers and contracts tear it all apart. Farmer Nappy has talked about this period with regret. He admitted he made mistakes. But eventually, thanks to the help of family members who knew both sides, they reconciled. They sat down, they talked. They apologized to each other, and they started working together again. Good thing they did, because the Red Boys and Farmer Nappy went on to create some of the most memorable songs in modern soca. Flirt, Surrender, Minglin', Stranger, Big People Party, My House, Rental. These songs became staples. The kind of tracks that get played at every Caribbean party, every carnival, every wedding, every celebration. Farmer Nappy was not just a former Xtatik member anymore, he was Farmer Nappy. A solo artist, a hitmaker in his own right. 2012 was a pivotal year. Farmer Nappy released an album called You Make Me Surrender. Then something big happened. He was nominated for Artist of the Week by a major music platform. Fans voted, and Farmer Nappy won. Suddenly, Farmer Nappy was not just big in the Caribbean, he was getting international recognition. Major publications streamed his single Surrender. That kind of mainstream attention was rare for soca artists. It opened doors. It brought new audiences. It proved soca could compete on a global stage. The success kept building. In 2014, Farmer Nappy released a song called Big People Party. That song became another massive hit. It won major awards in Trinidad. Big People Party became an anthem. The kind of song that defined a generation of carnival goers. Adults who wanted to enjoy carnival without the wild craziness. Who wanted good music, good vibes, good times. That was Big People Party. Farmer Nappy built his own record label, Country Life Music. He did not want to be at the mercy of big labels, he wanted control. Creative freedom. The ability to make decisions about his own career. Country Life Music released his albums, managed his tours. handled his business, Farmer Nappy became not just an artist, but a businessman, an entrepreneur. Someone who understood that in music, you need to control your own destiny, or someone else will control it for you. 2018 brought another major hit, Hookin' Meh. This song became controversial. Some critics said it promoted unhealthy relationship dynamics. Farmer Nappy defended the song. He said it was not about violence or control. It was about a man who loved his woman and did not understand why she was pushing him away. The controversy created conversations, debates, and whether people loved it or hated the message, everyone was listening to it. The melody was too catchy to ignore. Over the years, Farmer Nappy toured constantly. He performed alongside major artists. He shared stages with international stars. He brought his music to audiences around the world. Backed by his own band, he delivered high-energy performances that left crowds exhausted and happy. Farmer Nappy music is groovy soca, not the fast-paced power soca that makes you jump and wave, but the slower, melodic, wind-your-waist kind of soca, the kind that makes you feel the music in your soul. But Farmer Nappy's journey was not all success and celebration. He battled demons. For 17 years, he struggled with alcoholism. 17 years. That is almost 2 decades of fighting a disease that destroys lives, destroys careers, destroys families. Farmer Nappy has been open about this struggle. He said during his drinking years, he created some of his sweetest music, songs like Footsteps, major contributions to Xtatik, but he was drinking heavily the whole time. When he finally got sober, he worried he would never write another good song, that his creativity came from the alcohol, that without it, he would be finished as a songwriter. Then he wrote Chippin, Stone Cold Sober, and it became the biggest hit of his career. That song proved something to Farmer Nappy. He did not need alcohol to be creative. He did not need it to be successful. He did not need it at all. As of 2024, Farmer Nappy has been sober for 21 years. 21 years. That is an incredible achievement. Every year he stays sober is a year he saves his own life. He talks about it with humility and gratitude. He does not preach. He just shares his truth. And for other people struggling with addiction, hearing someone like Farmer Nappy talk about recovery gives hope. Farmer Nappy's personal life remains mostly private. He keeps his family out of the spotlight. He does not post about relationships on social media. He does not do reality shows or celebrity gossip interviews. He lets his music speak. Some artists need constant attention, constant drama, constant headlines. Not Farmer Nappy. He shows up. He makes music. He performs. He goes home. That quiet dignity has earned him respect throughout the industry. In 2023, something major happened in the soca world. Machel Montano announced he was stepping back from Carnival to pursue higher education. For Farmer Nappy, this created a bittersweet situation. He joked that he now had to play both roles, Robin and Batman, because for 25 years in Xtatik, Machel was Batman, the star, the leader, and Farmer Nappy was Robin, the right-hand man, the essential support. But Robin is just as important as Batman. You cannot have one without the other. Now with Machel focused on his studies, Farmer Nappy had to step up even more. He had to be both. And he did. Farmer Nappy won the International Soca Monarch competition with a song called Backyard Jam. This was during the COVID-19 pandemic, when big carnival celebrations were cancelled, when people could not gather in massive crowds, when the world was locked down. Backyard Jam captured that moment perfectly. It was about celebrating in your own space, your own yard, with your own people, making the best of a difficult situation. The song resonated because everyone was living that reality. And Farmer Nappy won the biggest prize in soca, International Soca Monarch, the championship, the crown. But Farmer Nappy has another goal, a bigger goal. He wants mainstream recognition for soca music. He wants the world to acknowledge what Caribbean artists have been creating for decades. He wants to make history. And knowing Farmer Nappy's work ethic, his consistency, his talent, it would not be surprising if he achieved that goal. In 2024, Farmer Nappy released a song called How Ah Livin'. The chorus celebrates living better than others. But Farmer Nappy clarified what that means. He is not talking about money. Not about fancy cars or big houses. He is talking about peace of mind, health, happiness. Waking up in the morning and being grateful, not being stressed, not being harassed, having people you love around you. That is living better. Health is wealth, he said. As he has gotten older, he understands that more and more. He goes to doctors. He takes care of his body. He values his peace of mind above everything else. Farmer Nappy also uses his platform to send messages to Trinidad youth. He sees the crime, the violence, the young people making destructive choices. And he wants his music to reach them, to inspire them, to show them another path. His 2025 Carnival song Thankful reflects this mission. The song is about gratitude, about appreciating what you have, about reconnecting with community values. Thankful is more than entertainment. It is a call to action. Farmer Nappy hopes the song can reach even 1 or 2 people who are considering a destructive path, who are angry, who are hopeless, who think violence is the answer. If his song can make them pause, make them think, make them choose a better way, then he considers his job done. At 53 years old, Farmer Nappy is a veteran of the soca industry. Over 30 years in the game, longer than many people's careers in any field. He started at 7 years old. That means he has been making music for 46 years. 46 years. Most people do not stick with anything for 46 years. But Farmer Nappy never stopped, never quit, never gave up on the music that saved his life. From standing beside Machel Montano in the shadows to stepping into his own spotlight. From battling alcoholism to achieving 2 decades of sobriety. From writing hits for others to creating his own anthems. From local Trinidad star to international recognition. From legal battles with producers to reconciliation and more hits. From Carnival King to community voice calling for change. Farmer Nappy journey covers every aspect of what it means to be an artist. His real name is Darryl Henry, but nobody calls him that anymore. To the world, he is Farmer Nappy, a name that has become synonymous with Groovy Soca, with quality music, with consistency, with authenticity. He does not chase trends. He does not try to be someone he is not. He makes the music he feels, the music he believes in. And people respond to that honesty. Farmer Nappy legacy is not just his hit songs, it is what those songs represent. Hard work, dedication, loyalty, the courage to step out on your own, the strength to overcome addiction, the wisdom to use success for good, the understanding that music can change lives, not just the lives of fans, but the life of the artist himself. Music saved Farmer Nappy, and now he uses music to try to save others. Looking at Farmer Nappy now, you see a man at peace. A man who has fought his battles and won most of them. A man who knows who he is, who is comfortable in his own skin, who does not need validation from anyone because he validates himself through his work, through his sobriety, through his family, through his faith, through his community. That is what living better looks like, not the cars or the houses, but the peace, the health, the happiness, the gratitude. Farmer Nappy's story proves that it is never too late to step into your own light, that 25 years of supporting someone else does not mean you cannot eventually support yourself. That addiction does not have to be the end of your story. That consistency matters more than flash. That authenticity connects more deeply than image. That music made with love and purpose will always find its audience. From that 7-year-old kid picking up percussion sticks in Trinidad to the 53-year-old soca star touring the world, Darryl "Farmer Nappy" Henry has lived a life dedicated to music, and the message that saved his life continues to uplift everyone who hears it.